I feel like shit.
Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days.
It's just one of those
happy days. The weekend comes, my cycle hums.
It's just one of those days where you don't wanna wake up. Everything is everybody sucks. You don't really know why, but you wanna justify ripping someone's head off. No human contact, and if you interact, your life is on contract. Your best bet,
Just knock it off, you scum bucket.
it's just one of those days. It's just one of those.
Happy days.
It's just one of those.
Happy days.
It's just one of those days.
The weekend comes, my cycle hums. Ready to escape.
It's just one of those days, feeling like a freight train. First one to complain, leaves with the bloodstain. Damn right, I'm a maniac. You better shoot, cause I'm fucking up your program. And if you're stuck up, you just locked up. Next in line to get fucked up. Your best bet is to stay away, motherfucker. It's just,
I'm losing my cool.
it's all about it.
Happy days.
It's just one of those,
Happy days.
it's just one of those days.
The weekend comes, my cycle hums. Ready to escape. These days.
Feel like shit. My suggestion is to keep your distance. 'Cause right now I'm dangerous. Right now I'm dangerous.
Something's happening to the bonds.
And my day keeps going this way and this way.
I'm gonna pop you one so you'll stop playing games.
Give me something great. Give me something great. I hope you know I like a chainsaw. A chainsaw. A motherfucking chainsaw.
What?
So come and get it.
What we got here is a case of mistaken identity, you know? See, now this here.
Not Robert.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chief Moody, and welcome to episode 133 of the Mood of the Nation podcast. How's everyone doing this fine Sunday evening? A little bit of a brain fart there. Sorry, my bad. Let me just get my drink here or my cola, just for a little bit of refreshment type of thing. Because I've noticed on the last episode, normally I would have a bottle or a drink there just so that my throat doesn't get all dried up or a bit of dry mouth type of thing. So I actually can't believe I didn't actually get myself a drink the last episode. But alas, I got myself a glass of cola, so it should be all right. Not like the mid not like, of course, the mainstream more popular cola. It's like a cheaper version of cola, that type of thing when it comes to moody lighting again. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying my best to invest in something for the lighting kind of thing for later on, so I'll definitely see if I can get that sorted out at some point. Anyway, let me have a look and see who's in the chat just now. Ugly Truth is with us. Thank you very much for watching Mood of the Nation. The lovely English Rose is with us, and of course being the moderator for the show tonight. Thank you very much for watching. I do see other familiar faces that came in. Inshallah, Streaky Bacon, thank you very much for watching Mood of the Nation. Bill Athling is with us. Thank you very much for watching Mood of the Nation. And also Rory Herbert, thank you very much for watching. Aunt Sally is with us. Thank you very much for watching Mood of the Nation. And that seemed to be it so far. 14 people watching the show already, which is really good to see. So I'm actually curious how many people, I don't know if there's going to be some kind of friendly competition between myself and Wesley, because I know his show, Renew Britannia, is going to be live at the same time. So I don't know whether or not, if maybe, it depends on tonight's show. It depends on if I'm going to be keeping it on a Sunday or maybe move it over to a Tuesday, but we'll wait and see with that. In terms of the Sunday's show. Anyway, Peter Walker is with us. Thank you very much for watching Mood of the Nation. And I don't know if I've thanked you on the last episode, but I noticed you've sent in a £5 donation on the last episode towards the end, which I greatly appreciate that. Thank you very much for your kind generosity with that. And I think that's it at the moment here in terms of people watching, which is really good to see. Hopefully more people will come along and watch the show. I know I shared the stream on Twitter and Gab. Obviously I shared it on Telegram earlier today, and I wonder if there's anything that came up with Telegram. There's nothing whatsoever. That's completely fine. While I'm at it, I'm going to have a look and see if Entropy It is working, right? That's fine. Perfect. Entropy is up and running. It's working. It's muted, obviously, because the reason why I muted Entropy in terms of the sound quality, because the video of the stream is playing, so obviously that might over take the sound of the show type of thing. So that's why I did that. Speaking of Entropy, obviously towards the last half an hour of the show, tonight's episode, it might be for 2 hours, maybe an hour and a half. It depends on how fast I get done with the topics, because I got a couple of topics to cover. Obviously, the first one, which is going to be the main topic, you all know exactly what I'm going to be talking about. And there's another topic that has been talked about as of late. I think it was featured on. I know it was talked about on PA Talk. I don't know if maybe Mark and whoever was a guest on this past PWR. I don't know if they talked about it on that episode, but we'll have to wait and see with that. So, but it's something you've all may have heard about, and I'm going to be giving my own take about that. And then after that, I think that'll be the end of the topics. And towards the end of tonight's show, again, depending on what time it will be, the last half an hour of tonight's show, it will be a straightforward Q&A. So when it comes to the questions, if you have any questions to ask me, whether it be paid or unpaid, the Entropy link, I don't know if that's been pinned or, but I'm sure the Entropy link will be popping up at any moment now regarding to the show. But with that link, it will pop up. If you want to ask me any questions, again, towards the end of the show, the link for that will be in the chat just now. So I would advise input your questions, and once the link pops up, click on the link and then enter your question there. And then towards the end, I will read out the questions that have been entered within that Entropy link. And thank you, English Rose. She has kindly done that. If I'll put up on the screen just now. If you wish to ask a question or donate to the channel, please use Entropy. And of course, that's the link for it. Now, I know it says not found, but I don't know why it does that, but it does work. It's just really bizarre why it does that. But anyway, it definitely, the link does work. If it doesn't, I'll see if I can input the link myself. I don't know why it does that, but anyway, because it is live and it should be working now. So, but anyway, moving on from there. So, no, sorry. Another thing too, actually, just before we move on to the main topic, of course, in terms of again receiving donations, if you want to send in, any donations for supporting the show, you could either send a donation through Entropy, as I mentioned earlier on, or alternatively, you could send your donations through a couple more platforms. Those being Buy Me a Coffee, which the link for that will be in the description down below. Or if you want to send it through PayPal directly, then again, the link for that will be in the description down below. Again, just the options there, basically. If you want to show your support for the show because you like the show and you want to help out financially regarding to that, then the links for those donation pages will be in the description down below. Gammon Sandwich is in the chat with us. Thank you very much, Gammon. I didn't get my notification again. Even I don't know why it does that. YouTube is just really weird when it comes to notifications. So I don't know if you may have already done this already, Gammon, but I would advise to click on the what's it called? The bell icon, I think it is. So that way that supposedly that gives you your notification of when a show does start, but I don't know. The above link is working fine. That's completely fine. Thank you very much for letting me know. That's greatly appreciated. So at least the link for, I'm assuming it's Entropy. At least the link for that is definitely working with that in this case. Right. So now that I got that out of the way, let's just get right into the show itself, shall we? And I see there's 20 people watching the show anyway. So 2023, brand new year, as we all established in the previous episode. But just about 6 days into the new year, all of a sudden there was like a new hit piece by a certain company by the name of Novara Media, I think it's called. For those that don't know, Novara Media is a leftist type of, well, pro-communist type of news publication that's supposed to be the anti mainstream media, that's not supposed to be like the mainstream media. It's supposed to be the alternative media, if you want to call it that. And one of the people who runs Novara Media is one of the people in this case would be Ash Sarkar. Now, some of you might know who Ash Sarkar are. Fuck me, I can't even talk. Ash Sarkar is. She's a woman who's a very staunch leftist, a very staunch communist, as she expressed in this clip right here.
She's literally a communist.
So that's one of the things that she's known for saying, I'm literally a communist. So much so, in fact, that she ended up using that phrase, "I'm literally a communist," for merchandise purposes, which I'll get into that much later on. So that's one example of what she's known for. You might have also heard of her from other people within the nationalist scene, because she ends up saying a very, very controversial statement after reading a certain demographic changes, which will be, you can find in this clip right here.
The white British population has decreased by 600,000, while the minority population has increased by 1.2 million. So, yes, lads, we're winning.
Oh dear. oh dear. I love being some cartoonish evil bad guy for having opinions everybody had 100 years ago. And I know it's funny that, isn't it, Joe? And it's really funny that. But getting back to what I was saying regarding to that, as a matter of fact, with that comment, she said in regards to the whole demographic changes, and after that, she says, "Yes, lads, we're winning." A lot of people were really unhappy with her when she said that. In fact, as a matter of fact, she's also the same people like her best friend. I'm forgetting this gentleman's name. The gay guy everyone knows. In fact, I think that this gay guy also blocked me on Twitter like long time ago. That's really gonna annoy me. Actually, someone in the chat might point this out who that person is. It's a very if you know Jim from Correct Not Political, Owen Jones, that's the name of the guy. Yes, in fact, Jim made fun of Jim from Correct Not Political made fun of him when he interviewed Owen Jones. So she and Owen Jones are the same people. Whenever this gets brought up about demographic changes, they're the same people that will turn around and say, "Oh, that's just a far right conspiracy theory. Like, you're just being completely paranoid." I mean, there may be some small changes coming, but I mean, that's just to be expected with the times. Never mind the fact that you never see this type of change in any other non-white country, but most of the white European countries, this is exactly what's going on. But apparently, if you point this out, that you're a far right conspiracy theorist, apparently, despite the fact, as we established earlier on in this very clip, I might as well just play it again just for context, but she herself has expressed this opinion before, and if we can have a look at this just now.
The white British population has decreased by 600,000, while the minority population has increased by 1.2 million. So, yes, lads, we're winning.
Now, of course, people have called her out on this, and whenever this is often brought up, she will then turn around and say, "Oh, well, that's just a straw man. Like, you're basically making out to, or you're just taking this out completely out of context." And I'm sorry, Ash, but what exactly is the context of you talking about the demographic changes that's going on here in Britain, to the point where anyone can see it, even like any white British person can see this, what exactly is going on. And then, of course, she comes out of the woodwork and says, sorry, I'm getting some like spam in the, hold on a minute here. Bot user, go fuck yourself. Don't know what that's all about, but anyway, yeah, I don't know what happened. There was some kind of like adult URL or something like that, but all right, but it's been taken care of now. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So according to her, that's all just a massive straw man that's going on just now. But you can clearly see in that clip that's exactly what she says. Anyway, oh, Paul, no. From Deb Demos, thank you very much for watching. All I would say to that is be careful what you wish for. Yeah, indeed. So indeed with that, Glowing Jones. Anyway, so now that I got that out of the way with the Novara Media, and that didn't show on my chat. It showed on me. I don't know if it's because I'm like the host of the show or something like that, but not to worry, English Rose. I took care of it. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Like the user who put in spam in the chat, I blocked that person. So again, no need to worry about that whatsoever. Anyway, let's move right into that. So don't need these clips anymore, because I think we get the point with Ash Sarkar and her company, Novara Media. Let me see if I can get the article up in question. Now, as I said, this article was published on the 6th of January. I saw this, I think it was the same day, maybe the day after. I'm not entirely too sure, but a lot of our guys from PA have talked about this, because again, it's just another hit piece by a not mine. Was not appearing on anyone in the chat. Well, that's a bit bizarre. Well, maybe I was too quick to maybe call out. But anyway, just for those that don't know, I'll just mention this real quick. There was an account called 69XXX Life, some kind of bot. I'm assuming that's supposed to spam like porno links or whatever. But not to worry about that, folks. I've taken care of that regarding to that post, so shouldn't be not much of a problem now after that. So. Gamma Sandwich, real quick. White people have been the only reason the non-whites haven't torn each other to pieces. If we go their toes and at their own hands, yeah, I agree. In fact, it's the same argument. If white people do become replaced and are no longer exist, then the non-whites they're going to be screwed because there's no one who's actually going to be the one to be like, look, here's what you do. This is how you do it, kind of an idea. Ryder Iron Spear, thank you very much for watching Mood of the Nation. I greatly appreciate you being here. Now, I got the article up here in question, but I also want to, I don't know where I get my notes up here. Sorry, just real quick. I want to have a look into the Novara Media Twitter page as well, because I think it was Laura on her Telegram posted about this as well, but I'm just gonna bring this up here just for context. English real quick. Perhaps we should hold on a minute. Perhaps we should have left them to it. Just saying. Oh, English Rose, no, no, we shouldn't leave it. No, because I think if those types of spam messages that keep getting popped up, then that's gonna affect the show somewhat. But anyway, it's been taken care of now, so not to worry with that. Now, with this article by Novara Media, let me see if I can get this up here just now. So here's the article in question. Britain's growing far-right party is a serious threat. Individual members openly describe themselves as fascists, written by Alex Roberts and Sam Moore. Now, those two in particular, you might heard of. I don't know if Sam Moore is still part of this group or whatever, but the group in particular that they're part of, in fact, they have their own podcast, is called the 12 Rules for What? Obviously, it's like a parody or like a joke towards Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life. So as you can see on the screen here just now, is it Sharon? It is, yeah. Sorry, my bad. As you can see here, 12 Rules for What? A podcast about the far right. So it's a leftist podcast where they talk about the far right. That's fantastic. Authors of The Rise of Eco-Fascism and Post-Internet Far, and of course another book that they made called Post-Internet Far Right, which you can find on Dog Section Press, which I believe Dog Section Press was first formed back in 1945. Coincidental, I don't know if it's too much of a coincidence, but I mean, I just think it's a bit bizarre that it was formed in 1945 at the time when that was like the end of World War II. I mean, I don't know if that's me looking way too deep into it, but anyway, there we go. So there goes for 12 Rules for What in terms, again, just to give a little bit of a context to who these people are. Now, if I have a look at Novara Media, the Twitter account, for just real quick. Now, they're claiming that they're not a pro-leftist or type of organization or a media team or anything like that at all. As it says in their bio, it reads, this is also something that Laura also pointed out as well, new media for a different politics. Now, again, new media so they claim to be like an alternative to the mainstream media, despite the fact that they ended up posting a hit piece article about patriarchal alternative, which in turn makes them exactly like the very mainstream media that they claim are not a part of, which is funny, is absolutely hilarious with these people. Anyway, but I'm sure it's going to be the exact same drivel. There's probably people in the chat right now are probably asking me, like, Chief, what's even the point of talking about this article? You're only just giving them the attention that they don't deserve. Again, it's just pointing out a lot of inconsistencies, a lot of lies and BS that might be spread within the article, because we've all seen it in the past with all the other hit pieces by either The Guardian. I think The Guardian made a hit piece about PA before, or maybe another nationalist organization. But I know of articles by the Daily Record, by the Sun newspaper. I think by the Ferret, if I'm not mistaken, but that's more with the Scottish region, if I'm not mistaken. And there's been maybe other subsequent mainstream news outlets that talk about PA, but more like regional purposes like Yorkshire or Eastern and so on and so forth. But here we have Novara Media, again, claiming to be the alternative to the mainstream media, but basically becoming the very thing that they claim to stand against by writing a stereotypical hit piece article about patriotic alternative. So let's have a look at this article right here, written by, again, Alex Roberts and Sam Moore. So let's have a look at this. The British far right is changing. The 2010s were defined by huge crowds steered by the far right influencers, quote unquote, chief among them the shameless provocateur and leader of the English Defence League, or EDL for short, Tommy Robinson. Robinson's abilities as an influencer allowed him to crawl to the top of any far-right formation, or at least exert a sizable influence over it, riding a wave of online visibility afforded by the hands-off policies of large internet platforms. Right. So it's already BSing when it comes to Tommy Robinson. Look, we've all have our opinions of Tommy Robinson. We know that he's basically an Israel first shill. Not to say that he's never done any good work for the nationalist cause or anything like that at all. He has done some pretty decent work in the past. But again, it doesn't change the fact that he's still a Zionist shill. And he doesn't really care about the British people or what's really going on, especially when it comes to the whole grooming gang scandal. I wouldn't be surprised that he would just use the victims just to make more shekels in regard to that. But anyway, that's just my opinion. I mean, take it or leave it when it comes to that. But anyway, just thought we would point out first of all with that. So although he was an impressive audience builder, he had no interest in building a membership organization. The far-right influencer model made Robinson personally notorious, and it kept the far-right's aggressive Islamophobia in the public consciousness, but it didn't produce highly structured or particularly coherent far-right organizations. Even Robinson has shied away from attending in-person demonstrations more recently. His eminently chantable and famously fake name has continued to ring out from the crowds gathered at far-right marches. Of course, oh, Tommy, Tommy, you all know, you've all heard the chant before. He was present as an expression of the movement's self-image more than as a concrete organizing force, and now his legal troubles, newfound risk aversion, and comprehensive deplatforming could signal his final decline. Of course, I also just want to make a point about Tommy Robinson real quick. I know that he was on Twitter, I think he came back to Twitter, but then he was also deplatformed again. Now, as I said, I'm not a fan of Tommy Robinson. I think he's a Zionist shell. I do strongly believe that it was incredibly messed up beyond belief that he was taken off of Twitter again for no reason other than the fact that he's Tommy Robinson. But again, that's what happened. So maybe they might rectify that they, of course, being Elon Musk or from Twitter, but I highly doubt it at this point in time. But anyway, moving on from there. The era of Tommy Robinson required particular forms of anti-fascism. Now the far right is shifting, and this requires both understanding and adjustment from the left. It has turned away from the chaotic, loosely organized street demonstrations so familiar from the 2010s and towards a newfound but no less dangerous focus on ethno-nationalist community building. Groups that were once built online and which found their expression in the street are moving offline entirely, making a turn towards overt neo-Nazism and building up their cadres, I think you pronounce it. I know I'm going to butcher that name. Sorry, folks. I've actually never heard of that or seen this word before. Sorry, 1 second. I want to... It's a bit of a dipshit moment here, but anyway, is Joe Marsh in the chat just now? Oh, Joe Marsh is in the chat. Hello, Joe. Thank you for watching the show. Bear with me just now. I want to see, what this word is, because I've never actually seen this word before. Let's see. Cadre or cadre, right? I see, or cadre, right? I see, right. A nucleus of trained personnel around which a larger organization can be built and trained. I see, right. A member of a group. Right, okay, that's fine. Okay, no worries. That's completely fine. Now that we got our cadre or pad, or like similar to padres, right? Okay, we got that out of the way. That's completely fine. And also, just real quick in the chat, Gamma Sandwich saying white people collectivizing equals danger. Yes. Well, again, it's not. I know this is not an original point to me. I know I've said this point many times on the show. I know that there's been other nationalists from either other nationalist shows or even posts on other platforms have made this point before, but it's often regarded as really bad when white people collectivize, like, oh no, you can't do that. I mean, just look at World War II, for instance. But it's okay for black people to collectivize, it's okay for Asians to collectivize, it's okay for Middle Easterns or Arabs or Muslims, wherever they want to be called, to collectivize. Like, it's okay for everyone to collectivize and view themselves as a group. But as soon as white people decide, you know what, we believe we have a right to exist and a right to self-determination, and we want to be together as a collective, as a group, even if it's for peaceful purposes, then apparently you can't do that. Like, because again, World War II and all of that. It's like, all right, even Jews are allowed to be a collective, despite the fact people might say, well, they look white, but at the end of the day, Jews are not white. Even Jews themselves will deny their relation to white people, and they see themselves as a separate group. I mean, just look at their book, the Talmud. It staunchly says in the Talmud that the Jews are God's chosen people, and they view other races, more particularly the white people, as the goy or the goyim, which is, I believe, is it Hebrew or Yiddish, something like that, a translation from that as cattle or sheep, that type of idea. It's genetic, yes, indeed, Illuminatus, thank you very much. Right, I'm going to share the screen once again, and back to this. Right, okay, so now we've got that out of the way. I actually don't need that page anymore. There we go, perfect. And accordingly, if the far right is changing, anti-fascism must change too. To what exactly? I mean, God almighty. Right, okay. The right is trying to build a movement. Tommy Robinson leaves behind little in the way of formal structure for the far right. Other far right groups have eschewed the influencer plus audience model he perfected and have instead attempted to build membership organizations with more staying power. These new organizational forms blend online and IRL activity and media agentic stunts with the slower work of community building. The Proud Boys in the US, so here we go, are an example of success using this model. Initially organized as Gavin McInnes's audience, they rapidly turned into a membership organization with a clear structure, one that survived, albeit somewhat changed, after McInnes was no longer the figurehead. Other groups like the Pan-Europeanist Generation Identity, or GI for short, I believe that's, if I might say it in this passage here, but Martin Sellner's group. I don't know if Martin Sellner was like the leader of the group, but I know he was like a very prominent member of GI or Generation Identity. Anyway, Generation Identity have also attempted to build more robust organizational forms, and in Europe, it was successful for a time. In France, GI developed a network of physical infrastructure and established links with Marine Le Pen's Rassemblement National, which is basically I would imagine it would be like it's not imagine. It's basically like a French nationalist group. For those that don't know, formerly known as the National Front, activists blockaded the French-Italian Alpine Pass in protest of migrant crossings. I remember that. I think it was Lauren Southern posted a video about that at the time. I know it was her and Brittany. Well, at the time, Brittany Pettibone, now Martin Sellner's wife, Brittany Sellner. I know Martin Sellner was in that too because he was a part of that. Anyway, in Germany, the group organized major stunts, including a banner drop from the Brandenburg Gate. Impressive-looking drone footage of a training camp was circulated. They recruited at universities. The whole organization participated, along with the far-right influencer Lauren Southern, in a campaign to intimidate migrants attempting the dangerous crossings over the Mediterranean to Europe. In fact, and this might be like a post about that from Al Jazeera English. Racist beatings, Nazi salutes, and secret ties to one of France's largest political parties. Al Jazeera English investigates Europe fastest growing far right movement. I don't know. Sorry, 1 second. I don't know. Watch the film Generation Identity. Don't want you to see it. Well, I don't think we should really give that a watch because it might be completely biased. But is it a GIF or is it an actual clip? Generation. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, maybe we'll not bother because it's probably going to be really biased at the end of the day. Right, but GI was not to last. Its model, though at first seeming to have better long-term prospects than Robinson's influencer model, ended up running afoul of the law in multiple countries. The activities blockaded in the past in the Alps were charged with impersonating the state, an accusation which reveals the burning conventionalism at the heart of their politics. Sorry, let me just take a quick drink and then continue on from there. Right then. Another problem with this more solid organizational form was also vulnerable to being linked to far-right terrorism. Well, here we go. It was revealed shortly after his deadly massacre that the Christchurch shooter had donated money to GI. More specifically, I remember Martin Sellner because that's what I'm trying to refer to here. Bringing police raids and increased scrutiny at the time of writing, GI groups across Europe are a shadow of their former selves. I mean, look, again, that was such a complete BS thing that happened because how were they supposed to know that was the same guy? Like, that was just an example of trying to find something to take down the organization. And when they saw that, they were just like, "Oh yes, now we got something. Now we can actually take down GI and of course make some arrests towards people that have associated with that." I would say more, as I said earlier, more specifically Martin Sellner because I know he was affected by that. That's pretty much what they're referring to in that case when it comes to what happened with that. Anyway, continuing on from there. In contrast to the European identitarians, the GI model in the UK was a disaster from the start. Suspicious about pan-Europeanism were rife. Wait a minute. GI model in the UK was so in the UK because I think there was a Generation Identity UK group here at some point. Suspicions about pan-Europeanism were rife. GI were supportive of Irish identity, a sentiment that is taboo amongst the UK far right. Unable, therefore, to recruit from the more experienced groups, GI was placed under incompetent and flimsy leadership. Its links to anti-Semites and neo-Nazis were revealed to the sickening path of the Christchurch shooting. The shooter's manifesto was named after a conspiracy theory that GI promoted wasn't enough and they disbanded. It is in this context of shifting organizational models that a new fascist party has emerged in the UK. So, wait a minute, did they have the problem? So, the Novara media had a problem with the sickening burst of publicity provided by the BBC of the Christchurch shooting. I mean, like, okay, right. Again, Novara media, if you were talking about the Christchurch shooting, like you would probably do exactly the same as what the BBC did, because again, the Navarro media claims to be the opposite to the mainstream media, like the alternative media, if you want to call it that. But from this article alone, they're pretty much anything but an alternative to the mainstream press. They are part of the mainstream press at this point. Anyway, now we finally get into the PA segment of this article, because I guess they want to make some kind of build up to it or whatever. But anyway. Patriarchal alternative is a growing threat, and that's quite a claim to make. Patriarchal Alternative, or PA for short, a party that was founded in 2019, has recently risen to prominence amongst the British far right, whereas street movements like the EDL and the Democratic Football Lads Alliance, or the DFLA for short, were civic nationalist groups. Well, I mean, they are. I mean, there's really no doubt about that. But anyway, meaning that they were nominally open to non-white members. PA has embraced white supremacist ethno-nationalism. Right, okay, let's have a look at this. Right, I just want to stress this part here. I believe Mark and Laura have more specifically Mark, I believe he pointed this out before, but while PA is a pro-white organization, it thrives on the idea of building a white community, a white British community, because again, white people in Britain are being alienated by the mainstream press, and not just alienated, but they're being portrayed as out and out monsters of society. And PA are basically wanting to promote a more pro-white, a white positive type of movement when it comes to that, or political group, or whatever the case would be. So this idea that, and also just to mention with that in this case, non-white members or like biracial members, whatever the case may be, are welcomed to PA, as I remember correctly. I don't know if I might be totally right in saying this, but again, they're not excluded from becoming a member or anything like that at all. If they want to join PA and also hold the opinions of having a pro-white stance on things regarding to like the demographics or anything like that at all, then they're welcome to be part of PA regarding to that. So I don't understand like this idea. PA has embraced white supremacy, ethno-nationalism. I mean, I don't. We do believe that Britain is for the British, more specifically Scotland for the Scottish, England for the English, Welsh for the Welsh, etc., etc. We do believe in that idea that Britain as a nation is in fact a white nation, culturally and historically speaking. I mean, it's not exactly wrong, is it? That's just the truth. It's like denying the fact that Japan is a Japanese country. It's like, well, it's true though. Like, how can you honestly try and deny that? But anyway, let's have a look here. Individual members openly describe themselves as fascists. Tracks like Mein Kampf are shared in PA chats. No, they're not. Hold on, right. Just to this part here when it comes to individuals, right? This idea that individual members like open up themselves as fascists, right? Regarding to I think we need to mention this part here when it comes to the term fascist or fascism. Like, just to get this out of the way, right? Fascism is not authoritarianism, all right? Authoritarianism is neither left wing or right wing. It can be either or. For instance, my Scottish government, the SNP at the moment, I would make an argument that that in itself is a very authoritarian government because of the hate speech laws they're opposing, or not opposing. Sorry, they're promoting to society and so on and so forth. I would make an argument that's an authoritarian party or an authoritarian government. Oh, but they're not right wing. Well, yeah, exactly. Because again, authoritarianism is neither left wing or right wing. It could be either or. Fascism or fascist does not equate to authoritarianism. Fascism or fascist, or the idea of fascist, or the idea of fascism is basically it's basically the nation, but the people come first. It's almost like the polar opposite of like communism. Communism believes in the idea that it's about the nation, but the state comes first. Fascism, again, in my opinion, at least, anyone can point their opinions in the chat if they want to. Fascist or fascism is the idea that it's the nation, but the people come first, because a nation is people at the end of the day. So and this part here, like Mein Kampf are shared in PA chats. No, they're not. Again, PA has a very strict code of conduct. We do not want to have, we're very all about optics. We do not want to have anything like that at all as part of PA, because again, we don't want to give it like a bad image or anything like that at all. So again, I'm part of at least a vast majority of the PA chats. I've never once seen Mein Kampf being shared around in those chat groups. And even if it was, someone would have pointed out and said, listen, you need to cut that out. You can't do that. Because we have a strict code of conduct. So that's a blatant lie. I don't know where they're getting that stuff from regarding to that points. But anyway, continuing from there. And leader Mark Collett himself, a former BNP official, replied to the question of whether or not he is a Nazi with a slide. Well, I'm a socialist and I'm also a nationalist. The party's well, I mean, what's wrong with that exactly? Sorry, reply to the question of whether or not he is a Nazi with a sly. Well, I'm a socialist and I'm also a nationalist. Right. I mean, again, this term Nazi. Right. Let's again get this out of the way. Nazi is basically an anti-white slur. That's exactly what it is. In fact, it was actually created by the very people that they claimed are being persecuted on a daily basis, or even for a long, long time. The term Nazi was actually coined by some Jewish communists back in the time. I think there was like a video. I don't know if I may have shared this video on the show before, but there was a clip of the term Nazi. It's basically a short version of National Socialist, but it was supposed to be used as a slur towards not just the National Socialists, but it was used as a slur for white people. So you could basically say that the term Nazi is basically the white man's N-word, basically in that case. But it was used as a slur, as an anti-white slur created by the Jewish communists that were around during that time. So yeah, moving on from there. The party's politics are similar to the British National Party, or the BNP for short, concerned with the denigration of indigenous white Britons. And I love how they put in quotation, quote unquote, indigenous. Well, the white Britons are the indigenous people of Britain. I don't understand how that's such a controversial statement to me. I mean, the Japanese people from Japan are the indigenous people of Japan. The Indians are the indigenous people of India, and so on and so forth. I just don't understand how that's such a controversial statement to make. But anyway, what's this? 12 rules for what? I made a tweet about this. There are a lot of appeals on at the moment, but if you have some spare cash, they could consider giving some money to our friends at Red Flare to help them expose more fascists. Right? Okay, you can hear what Red Flare have been up to in our interview with them about Patriotic Alternative. Okay, that's fantastic. They sure love to make money when they're talking about the far right. That's also something I've known for a long time. They hate the far right so much, but they would love to make money off of talking about the far right. Funny that, isn't it? Really funny that. But we'll get to the money aspect later on. Don't you worry. Collett's channel on BitChute, a free speech alternative to YouTube. Again, the quote "free speech" contains. I mean, I just real quick. I'm not necessarily a fan of BitChute. I think for a time it seemed promising, but it's not. It's not really like one of the best platforms in my opinion. I mean, some people might like BitChute, and that's great. More power to you on that. I personally. It could have been a bit better than when it was first established with that, but that's just my opinion on the matter. Alternative to YouTube contains rants on Jews and Black Lives Matter, Jews and porn, and Jews and more or less anything else. Well, I mean, when it comes to the Jews and their influence, I mean, one example of this, again, I know that again, this might be a cliche to mention this part, but just look at Kanye West or Ye when he was talking about the Jews and their possible influence. He's been called an anti-Semite. He's lost a lot of partnerships, a lot of deals, and all of that. So if there was no such thing as a Jewish influence in society, why was that all happening to Kanye West? And now at this point, he's now in hiding at this point in time, even though there's been stuff that happened between them, but now he's pretty much gone, or I don't know what's happened to him. And of course, just real quick, when it comes to Jews and porn, I mean, look at the porn industry. There's a lot of Jewish people that are involved in the porn industry. I mean, Ron Jeremy is Jewish, if I'm not mistaken. If I actually made a post about this on my Telegram, I don't know if I actually may have made a post about this. In fact, actually, where is my phone? Wait a minute. I'm gonna see if I can get this up here in a moment. Message from Ragnar Iron Spear real quick. Hold the message. Mark will appear on. I'll mention that later on in the show. Ragnar Iron Spear. Thank you very much for that. Thank you, and I'll also respond back to that. Let me type in. I'll just get this on my phone just now. Let me type in. Let me see. Favored your status. Right. Cool. Excellent. And porn industry. I know maybe I should have and sorry folks, 1 second here. Get this on my phone, but you know what? It's fucking stupid of me to actually do this, but let me see if I can get this on the machine here. Let me see. Historically, 109 reasons of oh, English rule is based. Right, let me see if I can have a look at this real quick. Right, okay. Right, Jews in porn industry. Now, I know I mentioned Ron Jeremy as an example. That's just one. That's only the tip of the iceberg. What means industry? See if I can get an image up here that might be an example of that. Right, let me see here. There's also James Dean. That's another example. There isn't. This maybe be the image. Wait a minute. Let's have a look at this. I wonder if it's in English. Hold on a second. Right. Okay. Let me see if I can get this. Right. Right. Let me show this for a minute. Right. So, according to the Novara media, apparently there's no such thing as Jewish influence within the porn industry. That's the tip of the noseberg, indeed. And also Gamma Sandwich, they invented the porn industry. Well, I mean, good thing you mentioned that, because look at this. If I can maybe get this a little bit closer here, and that way you all can see it. Right. So, we've got a lot of examples right here. So if I can get this. Jacob Frankel, aka Joe Francis, Girls Gone Wild. I'm sure people have heard of this. Seth Warshawski, Bill Gates of porn. Nina Hartley, who I've heard of back in the day. Jew porn whore, now with her own porn empire. Mal Warab, all-time producer, still making porn to this. Maybe this might be old, but I mean, I don't know if that might be true. Al Goldstein from Screw Magazine. Goldstein, the reasons Jews are in porno is because we think Jesus sucks. I mean, there you go. Andy Abrams goes by the name Randy West. I actually didn't know he was Jewish. I think he was in a documentary about the porn industry or something like that. But anyway, Eric Jover, owner of Ultima DVD, hired a real machete killer to star in his videos. Holy crap. Porn actress Sasha Grey, possibly Jew, and her manager, Mark Spiegler, who is Jewish, on Tyra Banks' show. I remember watching that particular show as well. Porn, Marina, and Hansitz, possibly crypto Jew or non-Jew, for God's sake. Ron Jeremy, porn, of course, legend within the industry, supposedly with that. Of course, he's now been arrested for doing a lot of sexual deviancy behind the scenes. Tracy Lords, real name Nora Louise Kuzma, I think I pronounced it right. Mother helped her get into porn at 15 years old. I mean, it's pretty fucked up beyond belief, but this is what we're dealing with here. As an example, all-time porn mogul Ruben Sturman, I hope I pronounced it right, actually giggled at his bestiality films were introduced as evidence in the trial. Okay. Vivid Giant Jew Porn Corporation, Bill Asher and Stephen Hirsch of Vivid, both Jewish. And finally, Jews love getting white girls to sit crap on screen. The Glasser family business is porn, with the son actually performing. So, I mean, there you go. Might be a bit risky. I don't know if it'd be risky when it comes to that image, but again, it just makes a point about Jews within the porn industry, and that's only just an example of that. In fact, another example is from I'll Be in Forever. Thank you for watching. David Marmerstein runs MindGeek, which owns multiple porn companies. I have heard about that. I think one of them would be Pornhub, be one of them, which is the biggest porn website in the world. Let's see. They treat the women terribly and encourage them to do interracial scenes. That is true. Although it's funny that you mentioned when it comes to that part there with the interracial scenes, because apparently in the porn industry, I don't know if it's all across Europe or in America or Britain, but basically there comes a point where if there's a female porn star who becomes really popular, but then when they star in an interracial scene, then their popularity declines because of it. Which, I mean, take that what you will, but that's, I mean, kind of, that's pretty based in my opinion, but it's still pretty sick and degenerate that they're still part of a very exploitive industry that is the porn industry. But anyway, I'll go back onto the article here. Um, yes, I think with this part here, this might be in reference to Mark's debate with the four Jews that he had. But that must have been like maybe a couple of years back. But I remember watching that. I know I didn't watch it live, but I watched it afterwards because there was like a replay of it on YouTube, or someone else uploaded that stream. But anyway, don't know if that might be a reference to that, but anyway, recently, however, BitChute changed its terms of service and college videos are now partially unavailable there. Still, less stringent platforms have been more amenable to him. Other media associated with PA is equally repellent. The Absolute State of Britain, or TASL for short, a podcast intimately linked to PA, has 118 episodes. Oh, I thought it maybe had a bit longer episodes, but I guess there we go. Not to brag, but I guess my show is longer than Absolute State of Britain. But that's beside the point, of course. But anyway, has or maybe had 118 episodes of vitriol to his name. Okay, and a single episode chosen at random. The host denied the Holocaust, used slurs for Pakistani people, called Meghan Markle a ladder climbing whore. I mean, to be fair with Meghan Markle, that is pretty accurate when it comes to that, if you really think of it. But anyway, but when it comes to racial slurs or denying the Holocaust, I've watched a vast majority of TASL episodes and never heard of that whatsoever. At least from my perspective, I've never heard of anything like that whatsoever. And Shlomo's sloppy seconds, as well as branding her child a quadrant ape. I mean, again, I've never heard of that phrase before, but anyway, I've discussed the desirability of the future race war. Okay, again, I've never heard of that whatsoever. Elsewhere, the hosts have apologized for the murder of Joe Cox and the Christchurch shooter, and frequently sign off their episodes with a cheery "See Kyle," a homophone for "See Kyle." Okay. Despite all this, there is an audience for their content. However, it is still just an audience. A decade of Robinson's audience building and 5 years of online alt-right activity have left far-right communities highly connected online, but only thinly connected in person. It is now PA's central task to thicken these in-person connections. It will do so not through the 2010 street movement's large-scale demonstrations, but through what it calls community building. I mean, well, what exactly is wrong with that? I mean, that's really the main goal of what we're trying to do here. We're trying to build a white community within PA. That's the whole point of it. Or one of the many points about PA when it comes to that. This largely means doing fitness training together. I mean, again, what's wrong with that? Going camping, what's wrong with that? Hiking and establishing a network of nationalist businesses. Again, what exactly is wrong with that? It's like its own community that we're just looking out for each other. Again, what exactly is wrong with that? This focus on in-person community building has been a challenge to anti-fascists who have been used to a stream of publicity and announced street demonstrations to oppose. A new era for the far right in Britain. PA has differences with the BNP, chief among them its plans for elections. Whereas the BNP contested elections, PA has repeatedly failed to register as a party with the Electoral Commission. For reasons so obvious and trivial, one might suspect that this failure is deliberate. What do you mean deliberate? Like, I know Mark and Laura have tried multiple times to get PA registered as a political party, but they keep getting denied for the most ridiculous reasons imaginable. Absolute ridiculous reasons imaginable. And that's possibly because that the Electoral Commission just don't want PA to become a fully fledged political party. Now, thankfully, there are actual other nationalist political parties out there that are registered as political parties, like the National Housing Party UK. I know that's one of them. The British Democrats, I think they're called. I know they're one of them. But it'd be really also nice to see that Patriarchal Alternative to become a elected or a registered political party. But I think that's not really going to happen anytime soon. Possibly because that the Electoral Commission do see PA as the new modern version of the BNP, and we all saw what happened with the BNP in the past. Say what you want about them, but at a time, I may have mentioned this before, but the BNP were a pretty successful political party. In fact, they actually got some seats in Westminster, if I'm not mistaken. So they did gain some traction from the general public, and I'm sure the electoral commission or any of the mainstream press really don't want that to happen whatsoever ever again. So I don't understand how this is entirely deliberate. That's entirely disingenuous. But anyway, for reasons so obvious and trivial, one of the reasons I remember is that the logo itself of Patriarchal Alternative, the tick logo had to be redesigned because it was just absolutely just ridiculous that. But anyway, let me see here. Hear a plane flying by. It's pretty low down, but anyway, moving on from there. Anyway, so let's have a look at this just now. The BNP had an established base of far-right organizers upon which to build their electoral prospects, something that PA is attempting to address. PA has separate. Wait, what? Build their electoral prospects, something that. All right, okay. PA has separated itself from the BNP at the level of personnel as well. It conspicuously did not invite many highly experienced ex-BNP activists to be organizers, likely because Collett did not want any challenges to his leadership from established. Hold on, what? Let me read that again. PA has separated itself from the BNP, right? Okay, at the level of personnel as well. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with that because it's been established before, but there have been, or there are members within PA that are former members of the BNP. So I mean, I don't understand how that's separated. I don't really understand that, but it conspicuously did not invite any highly experienced ex-BNP activities to be organizers. Likely because Collett did not want any challenges to his leadership from established activists. I mean, I don't understand that part whatsoever. I mean, if there's anyone to be like a leader of PA, it would be Mark, because again, he's got a lot of experience when it comes to it. So, I mean, I don't understand that part whatsoever. But okay, at the moment, PA does not have an obvious strategic direction. I mean, we do have a 20-point plan on the website if people want to have a check it out themselves, but all right. Indeed, it has proved itself to be shamelessly optimistic. Nowhere is this clearer than in its approach to the pandemic. At first, PA was in favor of lockdown. No, it wasn't. I don't remember PA being in favor of any lockdowns whatsoever. Even when I joined PA around about September or maybe about November time, and even when it all first happened, every single person I've spoken to about the lockdowns, everybody was against it. So what kind of crap is this that they're getting this idea that at first PA was in favor of the lockdowns? I don't remember that. I don't recall anything like that whatsoever. Reasoning that those worst affected by COVID-19 would be old white people, the party has since pivoted to being fully opposed to lockdowns. I've always had the impression that PA were always against the lockdowns because it was at least again from my own personal perspective, because from what we all know now is that it was not a giant lie, but the COVID-19 pandemic was not as bad as people were making it, or at least the mainstream media were making it out to be. It was basically the equivalent of the common cold, essentially. That's pretty much what it boils down to, or even just the flu, basically. It's almost impossible not to read this as a cynical tactical move. PA understood that its base was more interested in the conspiracy than public safety. What? But everybody was starting to become a lot more against the lockdowns because everyone started to see that the lockdowns really didn't help the fucking situation. So Navarro media, what are you on about? Everybody at this point in time would be against the lockdowns because they know for a fact that the lockdowns actually don't really fucking work. There have been past examples of viral outbreaks like I think there was like an Ebola outbreak that happened in Britain at one point. And did we have to go through a lockdown because of it? No. not whatsoever. Years way back in the time, I think maybe like 20 or so years ago, there was like an infection known as the mad cow disease. Again, did everyone have to go into a lockdown because of it? Not from what I've read about it. I mean, so it's a bit strange how this virus, when that came out, everyone had to go through like a bit of a lockdown, despite the fact when more research about COVID-19 was starting to come out. Again, it's basically the equivalent of the common flu or the cold. That's basically what it boils down to regarding to that. Anyway, moving on from there. It's almost impossible not to read. Oh, sorry, I read that part already. More indifferent to the lives of the elderly than it would publicly claim to be, and it adjusted accordingly. As if like Novara Media cares about the elderly, because I remember, I don't know if it was Ash Sarkar or someone else entirely, but I remember when Brexit happened, there was this whole talk from like the leftists or the anti-whites that like wishing death on the elderly because they're more likely to vote for Brexit than vote for Remain. Um, and wishing death on the elderly because, oh, well, they're going to be the last generation of like racists and all of that. Whereas the younger generation or the more progressive generation apparently are going to be taken over. That type of idea. I remember that. I don't think it was Ash Sarkar or anyone particular from Novara Media or anyone like that said it, but I know that was an argument that was going around because how dare the elderly who have years upon years of experience living in Britain and seeing the changes going on in their lives, how dare they want to maybe see a bit of control going on in their own country by their own people rather than being controlled by a bunch of bureaucrats? I mean, how dare they? How dare they think accordingly to that? Anyway, PA's bootloader phase is now arguably over. The party has grown significantly to become a self-sustaining organization. As we move out of lockdown, PA's combination of hardline politics and frequent cynical readjustments is well paced to take advantage of much of the conspiratorial ferment and social fragmentation that lockdown has God damn it, has engendered, has endured. It is likely to make rapid gains in support and thus begin a new era of the far right in Britain. The wider left must start organizing against them, right? Red Flare contributed research. Of course they did. Of course it had something to do with this overall article. But again, I know that was like the majority of the show. That was about an hour into the show already. But again, that's that article come to an end, and that's Novara Media over and done with. Again, what can really be said about this article? It's the same. It's the same stuff over and over and over again. It's really nothing different whatsoever. So I know people are going to be thinking like, "Well, what was even the point of mentioning this article to begin with?" It's just to point out any inconsistencies or any lies whatsoever when it comes to that particular article. But yeah, that's that. There is one last part I want to mention about Novara Media, and I want to point out the blatant hypocrisy I say hypocrisy, but I think ultimately speaking is about hierarchy when it comes to Novara Media. But let me see if I can find the page real quick. Now, as we all know, Ash Sarkar, I think Michael Walker is another member of Novara Media. Anyone who associates with them and all of that are open and staunch communists, right? We all know that for sure. What we know about communism, well, people who claim to be communists are people who are against, or well, not just that for now, but they are for the working class, the blue collar worker, like fuck the corporations, and they're exploiting the workers so that they can earn more money, and blah blah blah, and they want to stand together and in unison. And they support the idea of workers unite and all of that, and everyone should be given the same amount of money and all of that. And anyone who takes money, they're basically a scrounger, and how dare they do that? They're exploiting the other people and blah blah blah. Well, let's have a look at their merch store, shall we? So this is their. Oh, when I want to mention this, I have no problem, by the way, of people on content creator or otherwise, I have no problem making money online, by the way. I don't. I honestly do not have any problems of people making money online. As long as you're consistent about it, as long as you're transparent about it, and as long as you don't pretend to be something that you're not whilst making money. So, say for example, if you're somebody for years has totally been against the idea of making monetization online, but then later on you then change your principles because you end up making a bit of money. Now I know some people might say, well, people's opinions change over time, and that's true. People change their opinions over time over anything, um, as long as it's like a long period of time. But I mean, with this, I wouldn't be surprised that this is all done around about the same time. But let's look at the products that they do sell, shall we? So here they have a cap that read hate landlords, as if like they're completely against the landlords. Who the hell are they kidding? No future utopia mug, box logo, which I'm assuming has got the logo of Novara Media. Marx shirts, which I don't know if this might be true in saying that I don't know if that's a reference to Karl Marx, because obviously as they talked about, they're open communists. So again, it's pretty ironic considering that again that they're using a particular communist figure as a way of promoting some type of merchandise. But all right. A pen they sell, they've got shirts and all of that. And like look at this geisha, anarcho fabulous. Like what even is that? What what even is that? There's more stuff here. Let me see if I can get this up here as well. They almost sell anything. They got socks, they got beanies, they got I was going to call it a bag, but no, there we go. Media tote. I don't know what the hell that is. I guess it's a bag, but whatever. ACFM enamel pin, what do you want to call it? Water bottles, more pins, a tote, or they got hoodies. Right. Look at this. Literally a communist necklace for £21. I'm actually surprised it's actually that cheap. I wonder if it was produced in China or something like that. I mean, I don't know if it was, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was produced in China. But anyway, literally a communist necklace. That's funny. That is funny. That is really funny. That. Tank tops again. Earrings. Literally a communist earrings. God. They got no shame in that whatsoever. Challenge coin. What the hell was a challenge coin? But anyway, I think you all get my point. These are people, and I know it's not really much of a surprise there, but no false mustaches. I'm surprised they haven't actually started selling that at this point. But anyway, probably made by Ash Sarkar's cousin in the oh God, I'll be forever. Oh dear. Roy Herbert, when will we be offered a Chief Moody mug? That's a pretty good question, Roy Herbert. I never really thought about selling merchandise off of my name or anything like that at all. But actually no, that's not entirely true. There was maybe a point where I was like, oh, why doesn't PA or any content creators related to PA maybe sell merchandise? I think it was Joe Marsh that perfectly pointed out by stating, well, if we were to do that, then there would be people that might take advantage of that, might want to do that might cause some trouble that might come back to bite us in the arse. Never mind the fact they were never members of PA or anything like that. So maybe that might have something to do with it. Which, I mean, he's not wrong. I mean, I wish that would not be the case, but you gotta be careful when it comes to that fact, especially if you're trying to build a political movement. But maybe it's something that's like a mug. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe that's possible to have my name on a mug or something like that. I don't know. I can maybe talk to Clean and Pure, maybe see from there. Oh no, are they the ones that sell the mugs? Yeah, I think yeah, because I obviously I own well, it's not there at the moment, but I own a soap not hate mug, which obviously that's a reference to Clean and Pure. So I don't know if they make they make the mugs, but anyway. So maybe one day Rory Harper, but again, don't hold your breath on that because it might not happen. But again, it's a good idea nonetheless with that in this case. Call me grifters. I mean, it's not really much of a surprise. Well, I think another good name for them would be champagne socialists. So they're people who believe in the idea that everyone should work for the state, but obviously they're not going to work, but they expect other people to do the work for them. So to support their communism, they're perfectly happy to be capitalists. I know it's ironic that isn't it? These are people that are completely against capitalism, but it's fine to sell their stuff through a capitalist lens, or well, not capitalism, but you know what I mean. There is no consistency with people like that whatsoever. So, what does no future utopia now even mean? I have no idea. I have no idea whatsoever. The viral media, hormone blockers, Tavistock Clinic t-shirts. And there is, you can follow Chief Radio on the following links for more great content. And of course, English Rose posted those links just now. Thank you, English Rose. I greatly appreciate you doing that. I keep on forgetting to put this up here as well. There was another comment I want to see here. Where was it? I'll be forever anarchists who support government lockdowns, bunch of LARPing. Yeah, I know. Funny that, isn't it? It really is funny that. Let's see, China Direct. Traditional communism was base. Modern communism is like liberalism on steroids. There's Kingdom of Vinland in the chat. Well, thank you very much for watching. Greatly appreciate you being here. Yeah, and I think I didn't expect that article walkthrough to go for like a full hour, but it's done nonetheless when it comes to that. So anyway. Let's see. WTF? Steve Blake is ex-BNP. He's a legend. No, I that's true. I agree with that. Like I said, there were members of PA who were members of the BNP. Now, not all former members of the BNP do come back to PA because some of them went independent. Some of them formed their own nationalist groups or whatever. But no, that's true. There are some members within PA who were members of the BNP, and there's nothing wrong with that. As a matter of fact, they could take some experiences they had with the BNP and bring it over to PA. That could be beneficial to us. So yeah, that's true with that. Woodlander's in the chat with us as well. Thank you very much for watching Middle of the Nation. Greatly appreciate you being here. Now then, I think we'll just move on to the possibly the final topic we'll talk about today. I don't know if I might want to talk about it, because again, it's only going to be given from my own perspective. I know Sai, Mean Peem, and I think Jacob talked about it on PA Talks, so I don't know if there's really any point of me going over it, but oh, hold on a second here. Someone bought me a coffee. Well, let me just read through this message, and then I'll see if I can have a look in that article again. But someone bought me a coffee. Thank you very much. And it doesn't say their name. Because I don't want to dox them or anything like that. Well, it's not that it has their name anyway with that. Joe Marsh in the chat was in the BNP for years on and off. Well, there we go. Thank you very much, Joe. Just read this message. So someone bought you a coffee from buymeacoffee.com. And it reads, it is good to go over these hit pieces as it sharpens your attention on who are the mouthpieces and the type and or focus on attack. Indeed. Well, thank you very much for your support on Buy Me a Coffee. So, unlike anyone else, if you want to send any donations through Buy Me a Coffee or PayPal directly, or even through Entropy, you can definitely do so with the links in the description down below. I don't know if that may get brought up in the chat just now, but I'm sure there will be in a second or two. But anyway, just having a look here. No questions come through with Entropy. That's fine. Right. Let me have a look and see if I can get. I don't really need these anymore, so I'll just take these off here. Right, the last thing to cover would be the BBC article, and then once we cover that topic, it might be pretty brief because, like I said, it's already been talked about before. But once we cover that article, we'll then move on to the Q&A section and see what gets brought in through the questions. Let me see if I can get this up there just now. Right. Again, some of you might have heard about the story already, but I know it was talked about on PA Talk. Is this one right here? So I'm not going to go over this fully in depth because, again, it's already been talked about before. But the article reads, Rhiannon Rudd, MI5 had evidence teen terror suspect was exploited. Now, this was a case that was going on for a couple of years, if I'm not mistaken. But basically, the basic gist of it is, and even had a quick read of this article again just for preparation for the show, was that Rhiannon Rudd was a regular teenage girl in Britain, but she decided to get into the nationalist scene. Now, she did a lot of mistakes in terms of downloading I think it was like a bomb manual, I think it was, which got her into trouble to begin with. Well, that and also her mother basically sold her out to counter-terrorism, who we all know for a fact that counter-terrorism don't really care about the people who are moving on to the national scene, but they just basically being used as fear tactics to get them stopped moving fully into the nationalist cause in regard to that. So there was a case that happened because of the bomb manual that she downloaded, which of course she should have never downloaded that to begin with. I think maybe, and of course, even she was exploited by some people within that scene. I think she ran into really dodgy people that exploit her regarding to that. And it was all building up and building up and building up to the point where Rhiannon Rudd could not take it anymore and decided to take her own life, which is horrible. It really is. It's a horrible the fact that she had to take her own life. I think even Woodlander in the chat saying, yeah, downloading the bomb making manual isn't the best idea on your own computer. Yeah. Well, I think it's not a good idea to begin with, period, to be honest with that. Regardless if it's downloaded onto your own device or a separate device not owned by you, I in my opinion, it's not a good idea to begin with, period, to be quite honest with you with that. So most of the bomb manuals are put there by the CIA to trap the stupid. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at that whatsoever. Well, that has been done in the past before, as I've seen that before. Yet downloading ISIS content is fine. I didn't know that before, Ugly Truth. But again, I think maybe there might be some rules for thee, but not for thee type of argument going on. But anyway, sorry. Other than that. Sorry about that. My nose was clogged up. But anyway, Telegram is full of feds. Anyway, well, I think you can say it with almost every platform now at this point on. I think it's a case of everybody, especially if you're like a nationalist, you just be very careful. I'm not trying to come off as like being paranoid or anything like that at all. Obviously, you should be kind, you should be friendly, like who you talk to, but obviously do be careful with who you speak to, unless it's someone you very well trust, you've spoken to for a long, long time, and you trust them to the fullest. If it's someone that you've just spoken to, be very careful because they could be anybody. Again, I don't want to. Again, like I said, I don't want to come off as like a paranoid like a dude or anything like that at all. But obviously, take everything what they said at like a pinch of salt, that kind of thing when it comes to that. But oh yeah, I keep on forgetting to click on the messages themselves. But let me see. Gamma sandwich again. Naive kids doing edgy things again into trouble with the authorities is not the same as actual terrorism. Poor kid. I know, but again, because of this, because of the anti-white society we're living in just now, obviously, to me, this is just my opinion when it comes to this. As horrible as it is that what happened to this little girl, I think the authorities, like counterterrorism and all of that, I think they did that to make an example out of her. So whenever there's like another young person who is interested in nationalism and wants to get into it, they'll see this case and counterterrorism and all the other MF5 and all of that will come up and say, this happened to this little girl, and if you try to become a nationalist, this will possibly happen to you. So just be careful. So to me, they only made an example out for it to begin with regard to that. But let me see. Joe Marsh, this is why we have real life groups, as there's a lot of weirdos online. No, that's true. That is definitely true. It's a good idea to get yourself in a group of people, or any groups for that matter, that you know that you can trust and talk to regarding to that. So, because yeah, like Joe said, there is a lot of really shady people online. So, and again, be careful with who you talk to, because they can be anybody when it comes to that. I'll be forever. Avoid talk of collapse or civil war as well to the state. That translates to he's prepping for some kind of violence. I mean, that's a good point when it comes to it. English Rose. They look for anything they can use to make an example of far-right extremism. Yeah, no, that's true. They'll use any example as a way of trying to shut down the far-right extremists. Which is something that I also forgot to mention when regarding to that article I just read from Novara Media. So PA is an extremist group, so extreme, such an extremist group that we do banner drops, we litter pick, we give out leaflets, we have camping, we have hikes, and so on and so forth. I mean, PA is definitely, in this case, and I'm not being sarcastic whatsoever, definitely in this case an extremist group. I mean, it's just, but no, no seriousness though, like there's no extremist aspect to PA whatsoever. We're literally just a white positive group. We don't want to cause any violence or anything with that at all. We just want our people to be left alone. And of course to be the majority of Britain. That's it. That's all we're asking for at the end of the day. Oh, another familiar face in the chat. Well, thank you very much, DJ Cuts, and also NHP UK press office. How you doing? Tuned in chief and RIP for the girl. The anti-white agenda is vicious and evil. It is. It really is. It's just absolutely horrible that. And like I said, I think what happened to this girl, the authorities, they just made an example out of her. And I'm actually also really pissed off at the mother too, because look, the mother, I can understand that any parent might be a bit kind of like surprised, like, ooh, they're into that kind of stuff, that this is what they believe in. But as long as you talk to the child, or like any relative for that matter, just have that conversation with them. And why do they believe in this type of stuff? Why do they identify as a nationalist? I don't see what would be the problem with that. But this mother, because I don't know if maybe she was like incredibly woke, or maybe she believed in the whole leftist agenda that's going on or the anti-white agenda going on just now. But I think it's incredibly shameful that what she did to her daughter by selling her off to counterterrorism. Now, look, I'm not saying that this girl was completely like an angel or anything with that at all. She has, as a young 15-year-old girl, like she has made mistakes by downloading a bomb manual. She should never have done that whatsoever. I don't know why she would do that, period. But it's shameful for the mother that she sold out her own daughter. I guess maybe because she was worried about the whole what's the phrase, like guilty by association type of thing. Which, I mean, if that's so, then like it's just shameful. And this might be a bit of a thing to say regarding to the mother, but because of that girl passing, or because she committed suicide, her blood is on the mother's hands. But that's just my opinion when it comes to that. So, to be honest, if I was 15 now, I'd be posting the edgiest shit possible. I mean, I think we've all done that at some point in our lives, but honestly, don't be an edgelord, because that type of shit will definitely come back to bite you in the arse one day. But I just thought I would stress that real quick. If this manual is such a problem for the state, why don't they just ban it? Makes you wonder. Yeah, it does make you wonder. Like, if it's so bad, why not just ban it outright? Some people in the chat pointed out earlier on, it's probably a way to trap people who are interested in becoming nationalists regarding to that. So as like an entrapment type of thing. NHP UK press office. They will soon say we have to cover our faces so we don't upset the newcomers. Yeah. Or even, I think it's Joe Marsh that makes this point about that, to the part where you can't even just look at them directly. You have to take your eyes down to the floor or something to that effect. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at any more regarding to that. So would not be surprised whatsoever. Right then. What time is it now? 6:25. Right. I think we'll move on to the last part of the show tonight, and that would be, of course, the Q&A. So, like I said earlier on, if you have any questions you would like to ask me, please feel free to ask me any questions through Entropy. The link will be in the chat just now or in the description down below. Any question you want to ask me, feel free to ask me them in the Entropy link. That would be much appreciated. And it could be either or, paid or unpaid type of question. Feel free to do so. What one thing to mention, and while I'm waiting for the questions to come through, I might as well just mention this real quick because I know that's going to be live tomorrow night. But tomorrow at 9 p.m., I think it is. Sorry, let me just double check that on Telegram. Let me see here. I should be able to find it here. Yes, tomorrow on Monday, the 9th of January at 9 p.m., Mark Collett and also Sam Melia, who we all know as part of PA, they will be going on Off Grid Ireland for a live stream. Well, when I say live stream, it will be live on Telegram, and I think it will be live later on throughout the week on YouTube and also Spotify. But for the first time on Off Grid Island, I know I was on the show, the same as Joe Marsh, and another gentleman, an Irish nationalist, was on the show as well, and his name escapes me. My apologies for that. But tomorrow night, tune in to Off Grid Ireland on Telegram. That's where it's going to be live primarily at first, as Mark Collett and Sam Melia will be live on that show. I don't know, Joe, if you still be going on that show as well. I don't know if you'll be going on as well, since you were already on it at one point. But I don't know if it's just going to be primarily Mark and Sam going to be on Off Grid Ireland. There we go. There's English Rose posting that link in the chat. Greatly appreciate that. So what to do, folks, give Off Grid Ireland a follow on Telegram. Also follow them on YouTube. I know they do have a YouTube account as well. But Phil Dyer, yeah, that's who was on with us on that episode. Thank you, Joe. But yeah, give Off Grid Ireland a follow on Telegram, because that's where that stream will be live primarily on Telegram tomorrow night at 9 p.m. And Joe will be on it as well. Perfect. There we go. I'm sure Mark, Sam, and everyone else will share the links as well by the time it comes. So definitely tune in to tomorrow night at 9 p.m. That's going to be a pretty good episode. I think it's actually going to be really a good episode because, again, there's always like not like a major divide, but there's a bit of a divide between British nationalism and Irish nationalism, because of the history or whatever. But I hope with that episode tomorrow night that maybe there might be some form of unison, or not unison, but some form of unity, because at the end of the day, I think we need to get all of the white Europeans together, because if we don't, then it's going to be far too late. And maybe for once to maybe put our differences aside and focus on white well-being and the future of our people at the end of the day. So, and I hope that maybe not fully, but maybe it's going to be a step in the right direction, hopefully, but for tomorrow's episode. So definitely tune into tomorrow's episode of Off Grid Ireland at 9 p.m. UK time. That would be really can't wait for that. Was there another thing to mention? I think that's for the questions to ask me on Entropy. That's fine. Thank you very much. Again, English Rose. No questions come through, but that's completely fine. Right, okay, that's fine. No worries. So I mentioned Off Grid Ireland. That's fine. Oops, wrong password. Let's see. I don't know if they're actually watching it right now. In terms of a couple of members from Off Grid Ireland, or at least from that stream, I don't know if some of them are watching the show already. I know there's 34 people watching the show at the moment, which is really good to see. Someone posted about don't forget to buy Grandma Teller's tea, and English Rose posted that in the chat as well, which is really good to see. Ragnar Iron Spear, real quick. They want to come north to Chief Marie to meet Irish Rose and myself. Pretty based, yeah. Well, that's actually pretty based, yeah. That's good. That's a really good idea. Really good idea with that. Let me see here. So once the show comes to an end tonight, I'm going to be going out and get myself something for dinner as I'm starving. But anyway, and then after that, I'm going to come home, make my dinner, have my dinner, and I'm just going to chill out for the rest of the evening. Good evening, October. Thank you very much for watching Mood of the Nation. Greatly appreciate you being here. Good point from Joe Marsh. Cottenham demo next Saturday in Hull. They had a massive turnout yesterday. I did see, I know Active Patriot and Yorkshire Rose were streaming about that yesterday. So that's actually a really good turnout. It was actually really impressive, the turnout yesterday. So, yeah, so as Joe pointed out, for this March coming, or this demo coming up next Saturday, if you can get there, if you possibly can with it, that would be really appreciated. And then another part from Exile Viking. We need Mood of the Nation button badges. That would be pretty base, to be fair. But I don't know. Maybe one day, but we'll see. We'll definitely wait and see with that. I only had dinner at 4 p.m., but I'm hungry again already, which is weird. For a point. I really don't know what to get for my dinner tonight because I had cheeseburgers and fries yesterday, which was not too bad, but it was like maybe it was something maybe a bit better. But anyway. Oh, and also a little bit of an update in terms of my quit smoking phase. Since I did say on the show before that quitting smoking is going to be one of my New Year's resolutions. In terms of the update with that, the last cigarette I had, or the last time I had a smoke was back on the. It was either the 3rd or the 4th of January. So between say the New Year's and all of that, I did say to myself that I would have maybe an occasional smoke just to kind of ease the addiction when it comes to that. But for me at this point, the last time I had a cigarette or had a smoke was back on the 3rd or the 4th of January. So that's about almost a week, give or take. Use a vape. No, I've not used a. I can't take a vape. I tried to use a vape before, but it's just not really the same in my opinion. But I've completely off smoking. I've not had a cigarette, nor have I got a vape whatsoever. So it's actually not been too bad. There have been a couple of occasions where I was like, man, I could really go for a smoke right now. But I thought, no, I'm better than that. I did say I was going to stop, so I'm going to stop regarding to that. So. Gamma sandwich, buy a chicken and roast it, enough grub for a couple of days then. Oh, that actually sounds like a good idea, actually. I know there was a couple of stores I remember walking into where they do sell some roast chicken or something like that, so that's a good shout. I also did see a video by, what's his name, Blair Cottrell, I think his name, the Australian nationalist. He said he was staying in a hotel. In order for him to have something to eat, he would actually buy some grapes, like raspberries or blackberries, I think it was, and a roast chicken, so that he can have a full-on meal, I think, for like a day or two, which is actually a pretty good idea, especially if you want something to again, low fat, but also maybe good for like the muscle build type of thing. So yeah, good shout on that. So really good shout on that. Just want to check on something. At the moment here, only way I managed to give up was through tobacco flavor vape, but more power to you. Fair enough. Thank you. Of course, thank you very, very much. October. I think everyone's take on how they quit smoking is very different. You know, some people might go for a more maybe different route, but some will want to go off it completely. But yeah. Just 1 second, folks. We'll check on something in a minute. Now, I know on the last episode I did say that I was going to get a guest on, but obviously I want to maybe cover these 2 articles first of all, and then move on to something else. So maybe for the next episode, which by the way, this might be the last Sunday show. I'm actually been thinking about this for a while. This might be the last Sunday show, but I will be back on Tuesday. I'll keep you guys updated on Telegram as well, just in case, and then wait and see if we're there with that. Do you have a supermarket near you, Chief? I do. I'm not gonna mention exactly what it is, obviously, just for privacy sake. But I do live quite near a supermarket, which is pretty convenient for me when it comes to that. So uh, I've been on a vape for years. Do you have a super? Oh, I've read that one already. Demos, real quick. If you want to stop smoking, just go cold turkey, which is not a brand name for tobacco. Just stop, and if you have a relapse, just try again. Fair enough. That's pretty much what I've been doing anyway since the third or the fourth. Complete cold turkey, which just stopping outright completely. Uh, and like I said, there have been a couple of times where I was like, oh man, I could really, I'm like an urge for a smoke, but I'm like, no. I did say I was gonna quit smoking, and that was that. So that's that done. So I chain smoke is safer than tobacco. Fair enough. And English Rose, well done, Mr. Moody. Keep going. You know I'm going to nag you now. You're like a wife to me, English Rose, regarding to that part. But anyway, I don't need the nagging. So, but thank you for your support regarding to that. So, wait a minute. I just want to check something here. All right. Right. I don't know why this don't show. Right. Okay. I'm not sure that. Right. That should be all right. Perfect. Alrighty. So anything, it's about £11 a packet. Oh yeah, in terms of I know when it comes to cigarettes. See, my brand of cigarettes I would normally buy would be is a brand called Carlton. I don't know if you get. I'm pretty sure you would get Carlton in all across the UK because I remember when I was at the a PA conference back in October, but that was not 2022, but it was 2021. That's when I think Jody gave a speech, Wesley gave a speech, that conference, that type of thing. I remember I went to like a store just to get some cigarettes at the time, and I bought Carlton, so I know you would get that over there. But Carlton was like my go-to packet or brand of cigarettes. And at this point in time, just for a pack of 20 cigarettes, they cost about £10.45 or something like that. I don't know if they might have went down in price or maybe it's still the same, but it was around about £10.45, which at that point I was like, I can't keep doing I can't keep doing this. Like this is just just really bad when it comes to that. So I thought, right, it's either I quit smoking entirely, that way I would also save up money, but anyway, yeah. Anyway, you should get Streaky or Ugly Truth on. That's a good shout. Nearby is handy for choice of dinners. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. And also from Joe Marsh again. There's the demo against 15-minute cities in Oxford on February 18th as well. This will be the end of free movement if we don't stop it. Right. Well, there we go. So definitely people on the 18th of February, go to that demo if you can. That would be much appreciated. I would imagine a very important one as well regarding to that. So probably gone up now. Yeah, I mean, a lot of cigarette packets are probably going up in price. Well, everything's going up in price now because of this whole Ukraine situation that's going on at the moment here. But anyway, sorry. Bear with me just now. Just need to scratch my nose. My apologies, folks. That should be it. Again, no questions come through with entropy. Again, that's completely fine. Let me see. Thank you very much, Demos, for the comment. Many anti-smoking products are actually very addictive in themselves. Yeah, they can, definitely. I've seen the premium brands for 20 quid a packet. What a waste of money. It is, yeah, it's ridiculous. And that's partly the reason why I want to quit smoking to begin with. I mean, obviously for health reasons, but obviously the pricing is just too much now at this point. I think I must be part of like the last generation of people to see a 10 deck with 20 decks, and of course the 10 decks were a lot cheaper, obviously because it was like 10 cigarettes in a packet. And maybe I was like the last generation to maybe see that and not, of course, buy a 10 pack at the time, but Yeah, but this whole we're gonna completely outdo the 10 packs because we want to get people to quit smoking entirely. But I think that only just encourages people to buy smoking even more. But anyway, it's cheaper to smoke crack than tobacco. Oh dear. Anyway, let's see with entropy. Nothing, right? That's fine. So I guess what I can do is I can maybe update on for the next episode because, like I said, I did say I was going to have a guest uh, on for tonight's show, but obviously, with the articles, I thought I would focus on that at the moment. So I think for the next episode coming, whether it be Tuesday or Thursday, I'll keep you guys updated with that. I will get a guest on. Who will that be? I have no idea, but maybe I'll maybe get some people to talk to. Maybe for once get like a really big name. Well, that when I say that, that means people are going to be thinking, oh, it's going to be someone like really big. No, maybe not massively big, but I'm going to see if I can get someone on the show at some point and then see from there. So, do you remember the old cigarette vending machines in the pubs? I don't know to be quite honest. Maybe I did see a couple at some places, but to be honest, I think it was at a point where they were still like sitting there, but nobody was using them. Uh, because again, the whole at least from when I was growing up, there was this whole market of like anti-smoking, like you should never smoke when it comes to that or whatsoever. So I did maybe see some cigarette vending machines, but again, they were no longer in use because of obvious reasons at that point. So, and plus, I think they were mainly used because of the before in 2006 there was the whole smoking ban, but prior to that, people could smoke in pubs, but of course they can't anymore because of it. But anyway, it's not one of it's not those two October. It's no one that big. Okay, let's just let's just be frank here. But anyway, let me see here. Anything? Nah, nothing came out. That's fine. Okay. Just having a look on Telegram, and again, nothing really come up whatsoever. That's fine. No worries. Anyway, so yeah, I think for the next episode 134, I'll get a guest on. Who will that be? I have no idea. In fact, what I can actually do, folks, is that I can maybe write a post on Telegram and then maybe ask you who would you want on. So what I'll do is I'll write a post on Telegram and then just comment down below on who would you want to have on. So I see someone in the chat already pointed out Morgoth. Maybe, but we'll see. I'm very anti-smoking, probably because of my parents smoked. And that's fair, Martin. I mean, everyone has their reasons why they don't want like smoking whatsoever, or maybe some people have the reasons why they like to smoke. But some people don't like smoking because of the smell; it makes them feel sick. I know someone pointed out in the chat earlier on, which is understandable. I actually would not be surprised at some point because of me stopping smoking. I wouldn't be surprised that I would not like the smoking because of the taste or the smell. It'll come regarding to that, but. Your lighting beard accent give off a strong Woes vibe. Well, you know, I do live in central Scotland, but a lot of people do ask me like, "Oh, are you from Scotland? Where is it that you're from?" And I said, "Oh, I'm from Scotland." They're like, "Oh, well, you sound too polite to be Scottish." I'm like, "What the fuck do you mean by that? Like, what do you mean too polite to be Scottish?" But I guess it depends on where you go. I know where I live, there's again depends on who you talk to. Some people have a very thicker accent compared to what I have. I think people do say that I have a lot more of a more polite way of speaking Scottish kind of thing. But no, trust me, when I do get angry, that's when the Scotsman does come out. So you'll definitely hear the more thicker Scottish accent when I do become a bit angrier. But anyway, let's see. Cool. Guess Sasha Johnson. Oh, I don't know if she would be capable of going on because of the blow to the head. But anyway, that's beside the point. Another one, Kenny and Andrews. I've never heard of them before. Maybe I can have a look into that. Owen Jones. I would doubt he would come on, but let me see. A very anti-smoking. Oh yeah, I've read that one already. All right, I see. They mean you're not a Ouija. Well, yeah, that could be another point to make about that. That's fair. Wolf sounds posh. Does he though? Because I do occasionally watch his content from time to time. I have heard him speak, but I don't know if it was maybe posh. Again, I think it's maybe similar to mine. It's a very polite way of speaking Scottish. I don't know if it's maybe posh because I've met some posh Scottish folk and they can speak posh, like proper posh. But Woes, I don't know if it's posh. But again, maybe polite, but yeah, I don't think posh. Greg get the Greta Thunberg on Chief. Horace would be a brilliant guest. He's very knowledgeable. Yeah, he would be a good guest to have on. I mean, to be fair, I think I did have him on the show one time in the past. I can't remember what episode it was, but I mean, it would be much of a problem to have him back on. I think though, when it comes to like a next guest, I want someone who hasn't been on the show already. I know in the past I've had Scott Sarmer on the show. I've had Horace on the show. I've had Kenny Smith on the show. I've had Laura and Sam on the show before. I've had Derber on the show before. I've had P.A. Young Scots on the show before. I'm trying to think who else I've had on the show. So that's seven. Well, no, sorry, that's wait a minute. Damn it. P.A. Young Scots, Laura and Sam, Derber, Kenny Smith, Horace. Tola would be a good show. I still need to ask him if he wants to come on at some point. But anyway, Edinburgh posh people sound no different to English posh people. Fair enough. Is Horace still in PA? I think Horace is still with PA. I think he's a bit busy with like IRL work type of thing, so you just want to focus on that, and then come back to doing his regular content for the time being. But I think he's a bit busy on other things at the moment. But yeah, Joe Marsh, lots of times. In fact, if even Ross Gogg from PA Wales, I've had him on at one time. Bill Athing, I've had on the show one time. So I think it would be nice to see one of them come back onto the show. I think for me, in terms of like future guests, I want to keep bringing on guests who have not been on the show before, like someone maybe least expect type of thing. I think even although technically it wasn't really a guest, it was more like an open panel. But I know St. Harrison was on the show before, and I know Mark was on the show before. But Mark was on the show because of the 100th episode special, but as a guest, not yet, surprisingly enough. But I'll figure something out at some point. I'll definitely figure something out who to have on. Iconoclast should come back. Yeah, I don't know what he's up to at the moment. I mean, it'd be nice to have him come back, but we'll see. See, that's an interesting article. Maybe I can. Right. Sorry, folks. I'm just looking at an article Joe sent me. Maybe I can save that for. See, right. Okay, cool. Yeah, maybe I can actually save that for the next episode then. Well, I mean, maybe not like the next episode, but we'll wait and see with that. I'll definitely see if I can get someone on the show at some point, and then we'll definitely wait and see with that. Right then, what time is it? Almost 10 to 7. Almost towards the end of the show already, which is pretty surprising. Let's see. Get Ainsley Harriet on, Chief. He could cook you a meal whilst you share thoughts on racial matters. That's funny enough, actually, I don't think I've heard of that person before, but I can have a look into that. So we'll see about that. Iconoclast was on Dangerfield a few weeks back. I know he was on No Chances stream before. I haven't seen the Dangerfield chat though. That's the thing, or at least the stream for that. So maybe Iconoclast, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I've seen the link, Joe. I've seen the link. Yeah, it's the Police Scotland took down large-scale asylum seeker grooming gang in Glasgow, but kept it a secret. I can maybe have a look at that real quick. And I mean, we are coming towards the end of the show, and maybe I could save this for like another stream. I don't know, but this was like a 2-year-old article. Maybe right. What I'll do is I'll have a look at this article later on, and then see if I can maybe talk about this on the next episode, whether it be the actual next one or maybe the one after that, after I had the guest on. But we'll see. But I'll definitely have a look at that article later on, Joe. But thank you very much for sending me that article. Where's James Goddard gone? James Goddard is still around. I think he's mainly posting more, or maybe doing his own thing, from what I remember. But that's all I know of James Goddard. Anyway, I think he is still around. But anyway, right. Shocking. Yeah, it's pretty shocking from what I've seen. Yeah. I think it's similar to what I've talked about in the past before in terms of like the grooming gangs going on in Govan, more specifically in Glasgow. But again, I'll have a look at that article as well, and then I'll see from there. So I didn't realize it was old. Nah, no worries. I'll have a look at that at some point and let's see from there. Goddard is at UNN at 8 p.m. tonight. All right, interesting. That's good. That's good to see. So if people want to check that out for themselves, then they want to. And also at 7 p.m., I know the Nationals A team will be live at 7. So if you want, definitely check that out later on. So if you can. And yeah, that's cool with that. Perfect. So coming towards the end of the show tonight, 6:51. I think I'll just come at the end to the end of the show tonight. So thank you all. Oh, and 1 second from English Rose. Ragnar Iron Spears' show follows the stream at 7 p.m. Well, I mean, there you go. If you want to watch more content, then check out Ragnar Iron Spears' stream at 7 p.m. tonight. Or watch the Nationals A team at 7 as well. Again, there's all kinds of streams going on at 7 p.m. So you can take your pick. And then there you go. So good evening to you too, Johnny Enoch Powell. Thank you very much for watching the show. Even though it's coming towards the end at the moment here. But anyway, still no questions come through Entropy. That's completely fine. Maybe next time, but we'll see. With that being said, I want to thank everybody for coming along and watching tonight's show. I think this is 34 people watching, but I think I don't want to like brag or anything like that at all. But apparently, this is a much bigger stream than. It's not now I'm gonna sound like a massive dick when I'm saying this, but I know Wesley is live at the same time as me because he's now doing streams on a Sunday rather than a Thursday at 5 p.m. And I wonder if he's actually still streaming at the moment. I'm sure he is, because maybe he'll be streaming up until 7 before the Nationals A team comes to a head. So I'm just gonna stream snipe him a little bit. Just 1 second here. Wait a minute. Yeah, he's still alive. He's still alive. Right, so 16, yeah, so yeah, okay. Again, I this might make me sound like a massive dick saying this, but Wesley is live at the same time as me. He has currently 16 people watching his show. I have 33 or 34 at the time watching my show. So, I mean, and see, this makes me sound like a massive douchebag saying that, but I mean, look, if Wesley wants to stream on a Sunday, that's completely fine. I was even thinking about moving the Sunday show to Tuesday anyway, but I mean, we'll see with that. I'll definitely update you guys in the next post on Telegram with that, just to be clear with that. And with that, folks, that's going to be the end of tonight's stream, and I hope everyone has enjoyed. Check out Ragnar Iron Spears' stream at 7 or the Nationals A team stream at 7. I'll be back, whether it be Tuesday or Thursday. I'll keep you guys updated with that as well. And with that, again, I appreciate everyone coming along. So, and also on the way out, again, if you guys want to, if you enjoyed the show, if you enjoyed the content provided by yours truly, and if you want to show your support more by donations or anything like that at all, In the description down below, there's a link for either buy me a coffee or PayPal directly. Again, if you want to send in any donations regarding to that, it's entirely up to yourself. The links for that, if you want to send any donations, will be in the description down below, either PayPal directly or buy me a coffee. Entirely up to yourself with that in this case. So, and I see a lot of 14s in the chat, so thank you all very much for your support. Again, if you want to send in any donations through, then the links for buy me a coffee and PayPal will be in the description down below. And with that, that's going to be the end, and I will see you all in the next episode. Hopefully, the next episode I'll get a guest on, but we'll definitely wait and see with that. I'll keep you guys updated with that. So I'm going to see if I can open up YouTube just to get like a song up. What song to play us out with, I wonder? That's going to be a really good question. Let me see. I should have thought that, like, what song to play us out, because the last episode, just real quick, the song I played almost ended the stream abruptly because of like copyright infringement and all of that. But I'm gonna see if I could find something that might be a better song, maybe a shorter song, maybe to play us out with. But I'll have a quick look at the moment here. Let me see here. And there was English Rose also posting the link for the Nationals A Team 7, which I greatly appreciate that. Thank you very much, English Rose. Let me see here. Yeah, maybe not that one. That's like just over 7 minutes. Maybe this one? No. Have I? I don't think I played this song on the show before. Nah, maybe I have played it, but maybe it was a while ago. But oh well. Sorry, folks. Bear with me just one moment. I'm gonna see if I can find a song to play us out with. I should have maybe thought of one before the show started, but oh well. Unless there's a people. Nah, that's not. It's fine. All right, good show. Right, I might as well. Yeah, I'll play that. Why not? Let me see if I can get this up here again. Right, I'll play this song. Why not? Right. I might have played this song on the show before, but if I haven't, I'll just play it on here. Anyway, I'll play this here, and don't play any Bob Marley. You will get a copyright. Not that I would play Bob Marley anyway. Screw Bob Marley. Anyway, that's going to be the end of tonight's show. This is thank you all very much for watching. This is Chief Moody signing out. You have been watching the Mood of the Nation podcast, and I will see you all in the next episode. Take care, stay safe, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening, and I will see you all next time. Thank you all, and good night. Take care.
Years of being told you ain't as good as us. Join the line, sign your name. And they all said that our country's going bust. But no one's fooling us again. England belongs to me. A nation's pride, the dirty water of the rivers. No one can take away her memory. Oh, England belongs to me. we show the world that the boys are back to stay. And you all know what we can do. It's held high, fighting all the way for the red, white and blue. England belongs to me. A nation's pride, the dirty water of the rivers. No one can take away her memory. Oh, England belongs to me. England belongs to me. You better believe it. A nation's pride, the dirty water of the rivers. No one can take away her memory. Oh, England belongs to me. England belongs to me. A nation's pride, the dirty water of the rivers. No one can take away her memory. Oh, England belongs to me. England belongs to me. A nation's pride, the dirty waters of the rivers. No one can take away her memory.